All right, we're going to start some work with decimals and decimal operations. And we're first going to talk about adding and subtracting decimals. So the most important thing to remember when you add or subtract decimals is you must line up the decimal points. So when you write your problems vertically, you should be able to draw a line through the decimals. So in our first example, we have 5.43, and I'm adding 6.7. I know my decimals need to line up, so therefore it's going to be 6.7. If it is helpful to you, you can add a 0 placeholder here. Then you simply add and ignore your decimal point. The decimal point drops straight down. 3 plus 0 is 3. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 5 is 6. Plus 6 more is 12. Your answer is 12.13, or we read that as 12 13/100ths. Same thing with this next problem. Even though it is subtraction, we must line up the decimal points. So I have 8.4 minus 2.91. Again, if it's helpful to you, do a 0 placeholder. Then I just subtract like I normally would. I'm going to borrow. This becomes a 3. This becomes a 10. 10 minus 1 is 9. I need to borrow again. This becomes a 7. This becomes a 13. 13 minus 9 is 4. Decimal drops straight down. 7 minus 2 is 5. My final answer there is 5.49. So if we keep practicing lining them up, I have 4 plus 2.7. Now, we're adding 2.7 to a whole number. In a whole number, the decimal is always behind my number, and I can add that 0 placeholder if it helps you to line them up that way. Then you're simply adding. 0 plus 7 is 7. Drop your decimal. 4 plus 2 is 6. I'm going to do the next one, and then I'll give you some practice to do. So 7.457 minus 6.43. Just write them out as such and line up that decimal point. 6.430. 7 minus 0 is 7. 5 minus 3 is 2. 4 minus 4 is 0. 7 minus 6 is 1. My answer there is 1.027. All right, I'm going to leave the last two for you to try, making sure that you line up your decimals. And then I'm going to move into multiplying decimals. Multiplying decimals is pretty straightforward. We multiply similarly to how we would multiply whole numbers. So I like to write the numbers with the greatest number of places on top, but that's really a personal choice. So if I do that, I have 4.6 times 3. Now, I'm going to ignore the decimal point to start, and I'm going to multiply using the standard algorithm like I always would. 6 times 3 is 18. Carry my 1. 3 times 4 is 12, plus 1 is 13. Now, my answer is 138. If I look back to the numbers that I'm multiplying, I have 4.6, which is roughly 5 times 3. My answer should be roughly 15. However, 138 isn't reasonable. The reason my answer is not reasonable is because I haven't put in the decimal point. The way that we put in a decimal point when we multiply decimals is we count the number of places. Here, our decimal point is 1 place here and 0 places here. So I have 1 hop that I need to move it over total in my final answer. So my answer, instead of 138, is 13.8. All right, let's do a couple other examples together. The next one, we have 2.4 times 3.1. Again, ignore the decimals and go ahead and multiply like you normally would. when you do that, you should get actually, it looks like I made a mistake here. 1 times 4 is 4. 1 times 2 is 2, a 0 placeholder. 3 times 4 is 12, but my 2 carry my 1. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7. I'm going to go ahead and add my numbers together. So I do get 744. Then I'm going to count my number of decimal places. I've got one place here, which is a total of 2. So in my answer, I'm going to move 2 places to the left, which my answer is 7.44. All right, let's continue with number 3. So I've got 5.23 times 6.1. When you notice, if you notice when I multiply decimals, I don't need to line them up because we simply hop over the number of places in our final answer. 1 times 3 is 3, 1 times 2 is 2, 1 times 5 is 5. My 0 placeholder, 6 times 3 is 18, carry my 1, 6 times 2 is 12, plus 1 is 13, carry my 1, 6 times 5 is 30, plus 1 is 31. Then I simply add them, 3, 10, 9, I have 31,903. What I haven't done is hopped over the total number of places. So again, I have 2 places here. I have 1 place here, which is a total of 3 hops. So in my final answer, I have 1, 2, 3. My final answer is 31.903. All right, we'll do another example, 7.01 times 2. Again, no need to line up your decimals when multiplying them. First, you're going to ignore the decimal and use the standard algorithm. 2 times 1 is 2, 2 times 0 is 0, 2 times 7 is 14. The total number of places here is 2 because I don't have any here, so I hop over 2 and my final answer is 14.02. All right, there are 2 more problems to do, and I'm going to let you try those. Remember, no need to line up your decimals when multiplying. Simply use the standard algorithm and count over the total decimal places in your final answer.